How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to cover how I made over 5 million gold in the last 2 months in patch 8.3 with only farming for 3 to 4 hours a day. I recorded the data in a Google Sheet so I would be able to easily show you guys the breakdown of all my farming techniques and the amount of time that went into this. I am also going to break down the actual farms I did for the different methods on this list and show you guys how to do it too. So with that said, let's hop into it and find out what those methods are. Be sure to turn on your notifications, make sure you have that bell rung, and drop a like so you don't miss any of my future content. If you have any questions, drop a comment or tweet at me. First off, I want to show you guys the breakdown of my gold earned over the last 2 months. As you can see, I have broken down the categories into Primal Fire, Primal Air, Questionable Meat, Dredged Leather, Bloodstained Bones, Xanthid, Raw Gold, and finally, Mount Sales for month 1. Over the first month I sold 84 Primal Fires, 118 Primal Airs, 14,400 Questionable Meats, 65,809 Dredged Leathers, 32,354 Bloodstained Bones, 990 Xanthid, and 10 Mounts. These sales, plus the 362,900 raw gold, totaled out to 2,229,363 gold. If you guys are interested to see this breakdown in more detail, then I have another video on how I made 2 million gold in a month that breaks that down for you that is linked here. Since I already discussed this in a previous video, I wanted to focus on the second month of farming instead. With the auction house prices going down pretty significantly, I decided to switch up my farming methods and just focus on the ones that had the greatest return for my time invested. For the second month, I cut out the primal farms as well as the Xanthid and just focused on the skinning farms, raw gold, and the mount farms. I put a lot more time into the raw gold side of things for the second month and also cut down on my mount farming to just the Vial of the Sands mount, as this was something that was guaranteed after farming the materials instead of a random chance of dropping. Over the second month I sold 7,600 questionable meat, 33,827 dredged leather, 17,146 bloodstained bones, and 24 Vial of the Sands mounts. These plus the 1,230,000 raw gold totaled out to 2,863,972 gold. Now I broke down the average price I was selling everything at and mentioned the high and the low prices that my auction sold for. I am going to be referring to the averages going forward so it can be more realistic to what you can expect instead of my actual profit. I am going to go over the items I've focused the least amount of time on first. Now the next few items on the list are all tied together in the same farm so you can do them at the same time. So if you're wondering why the monthly hour column adds up to more than the 131 hours it took to complete all of these farms, that is why. The best place to farm questionable meat, dredged leather, and bloodstained bones together is in the Vale of Eternal Blossom, and you're going to be targeting the Thunder Maw packs. To do this farm effectively, you're going to want to be on a max level character with rank 3 skinning and head over to this area. Once you are over here, you are going to want to group up as many of the Thunder Maws together as you can and AoE them down. Be careful not to try and pull too many because it will end up leashing some and it will just waste time. I usually do this farm in 4 total pulls before I begin the farm again. In order to skin these faster, I recommend going and getting the Forager gloves. These gloves cut down on the time to gather materials while you are in Pandaria. They drop off of the burning berserkers in the Timeless Isle that are located here on the map. It shouldn't take you too long to obtain these, and if you can't get them to drop, then don't worry as they're not 100% necessary. If you can't get the gloves and still want to skin these mobs faster, then you can always use the Dark Moon Firewater Potion as well. This method was a lot better a few months ago, but if you hold on to your items until minimums are met, then you can still see a huge profit. For the most part, the questionable meat and the bloodstained bones were easy to sell and I didn't have to hold on to them very long. I invested half the amount of time this last month as I did the previous due to the drop in prices. For 19 hours of time invested in this method, I was able to yield an average profit of 385,540 gold, or roughly a little over 20,000 gold an hour. Even though the prices have dropped on this from the previous month, we still managed to sell these items for an average of 20,000 gold an hour doing it. That really isn't that bad at all considering the dip in the market, or it just goes to show you how good this farm once was. Now for you raw gold farmers out there, this is the part of the video you're going to enjoy. I actually was really surprised at the amount of raw gold I was able to farm out in the course of a month. Now I released another video recently that focused on the best raids to farm raw gold out of. If you guys are interested, then here's the link to that video. The methods that I used to make the 1,230,000 gold from raw gold were the ones mentioned in that video, minus the Siege of Orgrimmar and Emerald Nightmare raids, because I found it more effective to run the other method I was doing for raw gold instead. The other method that I was doing is going to be the Ataldazar dungeon farm and turning those materials into the fist weapon for around 7,000 gold per lockout period. This will require you to have a leather worker on one of your characters, but like I mentioned in previous videos, it isn't very hard to level one, and you learn the Shimmerscale strikers from the vendor, so you don't have to go out and farm a pattern or anything like that. Now the raids you want to focus on every week on every difficulty and on as many characters as you have that can run are Highmaul, Blackrock Foundry, and Hellfire Citadel. If you run these raids on all difficulties once per week, then you will average roughly around 20,000 gold per character. I did it on 3 characters every week, so I was averaging around 60,000 raw gold per week, and that totaled out to 264,000 raw gold for the month from the Warlords of Draenor raids on all difficulties. That's only the raw gold side of things, so if you get lucky with any of the transmog pieces or pets, then you can add to your total, but for this video purpose I left those out of the total. It took me about 3 to 3.5 hours to clear the 3 raids on all difficulties each week, so that totaled out to 9 hours per week or 36 hours for the month. For the Ataldazar farm, you can get enough materials to create roughly 130 of the fist weapons every 30 minutes or 10 lockouts of the dungeon and turn that into around 15,000 gold per hour invested. Now I was able to cut that down to 20 minutes a run on my Demon Hunter, so in an hour of time invested I actually squeezed 30 runs in. This will add around 7,000 additional gold for your hour's worth of time, totaling out to be around 21,000 gold per hour invested. When I was waiting on the lockout to expire, I went and did the Thundermaw farm in Vale until the lockout was complete, so I didn't have any downtime. As you saw on the chart, I put 46 hours into this over the course of the month, so I ran Ataldazar 136 times and crafted almost 18,000 Shimmerscale strikers. For everyone's sanity, I'm not going to go over how long it took to actually craft those items, but rest assured I was AFK for the whole time. Make sure you guys are using the enchant to craft faster. Also, a little trick on this, you can also just craft until you are done and don't have to worry about bag space. If your bags are full, you will continue to craft and you will just get the items in the mail, so feel free to craft as many as you would like or what you have for the day and just go AFK for a little while. Now the last item on my list was mount sales. I was originally doing a lot of 2x4 farms in Stormsong, Suramar, Vol'dun, and many others, but turned away from these recently as, to be quite honest, I got tired of doing them. Just sitting there killing the same mob over and over or going and trying to hyperspawn mobs just wasn't for me. Also, if you're just joining random groups, this method's success depends on how competent that group is. If they don't know what they're doing and you aren't doing the hyperspawn correctly, then you're just wasting your time. With that being said, I switched over to just selling to the Vial of the Sands mount. I have sold 24 of these mounts in the last month that range from 50,000 to 57,000 gold per mount. That is a pretty good profit margin if you farm out all the rest of the mats it takes you to make the mount. The materials themselves maybe take an hour and a half to 2 hours to farm them all out, and it's definitely worth your time to do that unless the materials are selling for dirt cheap on the auction house. I put a total of 30 hours over the last month farming out the mats for the 24 Vial of Sands mounts I sold. For the 24 mounts sold at an average of 52,018 gold per mount, that totaled out to 1,248,432 gold for the month on mount sales. Now if you guys are an alchemist and don't have the mount recipe, then here's another video of mine that will walk you through the fastest way to obtain that recipe. Overall, with all the methods listed on my list, you can pick and choose which ones you would like to prioritize so you can too make over 5 million gold in 2 months with only farming a few hours a day. I would probably focus even more on the raw gold side of things if I had to do this again, because the auction house continues to drop prices, and even with mixing up the methods you can see the results favoring raw gold anyway. Well, there you have it guys, my methods on how I made over 5 million gold in 2 months in patch 8.3. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to let me know any other gold farms you are currently doing that are successful. Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.